tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how I knitted this vest with this beautiful pattern. So if you want to see how I did this, just keep on watching. So this is the yarn that I used. I just found it in a drugstore, so I'm not 100% sure what kind of yarn it is. So I needed a little test just to see how I would like the pattern to be and how the colors would look together. So I'm starting with the brown yarn where it is acrylic. So here I'm just making a little knot to make all of my stitches. So this is a really easy way to do stitches if you have never knitted anything before and never had to chain stitches. This is really easy and fast. So when you're done chaining all of your stitches, you're just going to make sure that it's not twisted before you can begin to knitting them together. So here I'm knitting the first round of my rib edge. So I'm doing 2 knit stitches and 2 purl stitches. So we're going to repeat this sequence of 2 knit stitches and 2 purl stitches to make the rib for the entire round. So now we've done the first row, and for the next row we're just going to do knit stitches above the knit stitches and purl stitches above the purl stitches. And that is how we create the rib. So you just want to continue this for as many rows as you like. I did 12 before we go and attach the white yarn. So now I'm done with my rib. I did 12 rows. So here I'm just attaching the white yarn, and we're going to do a couple of rows where we just do knit stitches, so no more rib. And we're just going to knit with the white thread, so just leave the brown one. So yeah, you just want to do knit stitching all around for 4 rows. So here I've done the 4 rows. You can see here where I attached the yarn, there's a little white thread, so I can see when I've done it with a round. So now we're going to do the first round with the pattern. So to start a row, we do 2 white knit stitches before taking the brown thread. And then we do 5 white between the brown and repeat this sequence all around. So for row number 2 in the pattern, we're just gonna do white above white and brown above brown, as you can see here. So this is how you do row number 3. And for row number 4 of the pattern, we just do white above white and brown above brown, as you can see here, to make these little V's. So now when we're done with the pattern, we're gonna do 4 rows of white knit stitching all around before we're gonna do the pattern once more. And then we're gonna twist it a little so that it is in the middle of the row that you just did, as you can see here in my little test. So for the first row we started out for this stitch where I'm pointing, and for the second I start the brown color out of this row. So, and I make sure that they are above each other, continuing on with this pattern. And it's difficult to explain, but I hope it makes sense. So you're going to continue with this pattern for about 23 centimeters. So you want to continue knitting until your work is about 23 centimeters. Then we're going to put a little marker in the half of the stitches. So here, for me, I have 90 stitches on each side. So I know where to close the stitches, because we're going to knit the front and the back separately. So here I'm showing you how I close stitches. You just want to knit the first one normal and also this next one. And then we go into the first we did and then pull that through. And that's actually how you just close a stitch. So it's really simple. And you're just going to do that a total of 6 times. So now I've closed the 6 stitches. As you can see here, the mark is in the middle. So now we're just going to do knit stitching and keep following the pattern all the way to the other thread and close those stitches as well. And then knit all the way back to where we started the row. So now we're going to put a helping needle just to hold the stitches in one of the sides. And then we're going to be working the side where the yarn is attached, and that is going to be the front side. So now we're going to start knitting the front side separately from the other one. So here is a helping needle holding the other 90 stitches. So here we're going to close 2 stitches. So we're going to knit 2 together on the back side. So we're going to knit purl stitches all the way for this row. So just want to yarn over and pull through both of the loops. Then 1 loop remain, and that's going to be your new stitch or your new loop. And that is how you close a loop. We're just going to do that one more time while still doing the pattern. That is 2 closed. So now we're just going to knit purl stitches until we reach the end of this row. So now at the end we're going to close 2 again, the same way where we did in this beginning of this row. Just like that, and then that's the end of the first row. So the second row we're going to start with closing just 1 stitch. We can do this here with knit stitches, just like that. And then you want to knit stitch this row, or you want to continue knit stitching this row and close 1 stitch in the end. And for the third round, you're also going to be closing 1 stitch in each end. So now I've finished doing the 3 rows with decreases, and now we're just going to knit them back and forth with purl and knit stitching, like I showed you, and keep following the pattern. So now I've knitted the front side of my vest completely finished. I just chose to do to change the colors a bit in the top, as I'm showing you here. So now we're going to do the shoulders. So first we're going to knit the first 22 stitches, close the next 30, and knit the next 22 stitches. So when you've done that, we're going to work the shoulders. And we're going to knit them separately. So here I'm just doing knit stitches. And at the end I'm closing 1 stitch towards the neck. And then you flip it over, and then you just do purl stitches in each stitch, so no decreases on every other row during the shoulders. So you just want to repeat this sequence 3 more times, and then the shoulder is done. So you have a total of 4 stitches closed towards the neck, only on the side where we do the knit stitches. So now I've done the rows, and we're just going to close the shoulder. And we're doing this the same way as I showed you earlier. So now the shoulder is done, so you want to repeat this on the other side. So now I've did the other shoulder and also knitted the back side of the vest. And this is what it looks like. So on the back side I did a bit different with the colors, as you can see here. I didn't make a second white line, I just did it with the brown. And this is totally up to you which pattern you want to make. This is the way I did it. So here we're going to sew the shoulders together, so I just pin them together. And I'm just going to sew them with a straight stitch. And you can do this by hand sewing, and you can also do it on a sewing machine. So this is what it looks like when the shoulder has been sewn together. So here I just already knitted my rib from one of the arms and the neckline. So we just start with making a knot. And then we're going to make some stitches. So what we're going to do is just pull the yarn through, and I do it pretty randomly, so it doesn't really matter where you do it. But when you're making a vest, just make sure you have the same stitch count on both your arms. But other than that, it doesn't really matter how many stitches you have. It all depends on if you want it to be loose or more tight. Just continue doing this all the way around. I had 72 stitches here in the arm. So now all that is collected. We're going to knit them the same way we started this vest. So with 2 knit stitches and 2 purl stitches. But it can be a little bit difficult with this really long knitting needle. So what I do is I just pull it out here, and I'm going to knit a couple of stitches. Just like this. So you can see it's the same rib stitching as we started with. So just gonna knit a little bit more. And then I'm just pulling the needle through. And that way you can knit with a really long needle, even though it's a really tight space. And it makes it really tight. Just continuing doing this all around. And again, you just want to do knit stitches over knit stitches and purl stitches over purl stitches to create the rib. So I did a total of 7 rows. You can do how many you prefer, and then we're just going to close it up. For the neck I did 11 rows. So now that has all been closed, we're just going to hide the little tail. And this is how I hide all of the tails of the entire vest. Just to show you, just kind of want to weave it in. And it really helps using a crochet hook. It just makes it a lot easier and faster to hide this little tail. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial. I really enjoyed making it. So I hope you have a great day and see you next Thursday. Bye.